Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the Traffic Commission hearing of August 17th to order. Members present are Police Chief David Callahan, City Planner Frank Stringy, Fire Chief Bright, and myself, Paul Agenzio, Superintendent of Public Works. If you can join me in a salute to the flag, I'd appreciate it. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a couple of elected officials here tonight, so we were going to take their concerns up first. The first item we're going to do is, these are requests. Item number 5, Schedule 11 of Title 10, Heavy Commercial Vehicles, Restricted Streets by adding no trucks allowed from American Legion Highway to Mill Street. Signage to be placed at the corner of Mill Street.
Thank you. Joanne McKenna, Ward 1 Councillor. I'm requesting a no truck sign from, I think it's Revere Beach Parkway, onto Mill Street.
Yes.
And what's happening is Waze and Google are taking these trucks the shortest way to cut through the neighborhoods to go onto Broadway. And what's happening, it's inundating the neighborhoods with very large trucks. I know about a year ago, there was a 16-wheeler that came through there and took down a couple of signs.
Okay.
So I'm just asking, just for the neighborhood safety, that we put a no truck sign there so they can't go off and go through Mill Street and Vinyl Street and go up into Broadway.
Okay, thanks, Councilor.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to move this?
Motion to move to a public hearing.
All right. Hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Councilor McKenna would like to change the speed on Mill Street from 25 miles an hour to 20, from 25 miles an hour to 20. Mass DOT would need to be contacted if approved.
Joanne McKenna, Ward 1 Councillor. We're having a lot of problems with Mill Street. It's a cut-through. We have, again, Waze is taking it, and Google's taking trucks through there. There's a lot of kids. It's, excuse me. So there's a lot of kids there, and it's the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit is not low enough for these, for this. They're coming off of Beach Street. They're coming from, Vinyl Street. So they're cutting through, and they're inundated with cars and speeding all the time. So I'm just as a safety precaution, I'm just asking to lower the speed limit. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to move to a public hearing.
Can I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Councilor, is that all you have on the agenda? Okay. Okay, and now we're going to move to number 3, Schedule 8 of Title 10, Parking Restrictions Generally by adding a 15-minute parking spaces on the east side of Walnut Avenue at the corner of 104 Shirley Ave next to the laundromat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ira Novoselsky, 53D Hone Street, Ward 2 Councilor. This is a request from the laundromat owner that all the people using the laundromat don't have any place to park to unload their vehicles. So they've asked for a 15-minute parking space on Walnut Ave, just beyond the 20-foot no parking here to corner sign, so right up to their driveway. So it should work out, and that would make them happy. So appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilor. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to move to a hearing.
Okay, second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
You're welcome. Okay, we're going to return to the order as it appears on the agenda. Request 1, amend Schedule 4 of Title 10 of the revised city ordinance of the City of Revere by adding stop signs at the following: Malden Street, westbound traffic at Newhall; Malden Street, eastbound traffic at Newhall; Newhall Street, northbound traffic at Malden Street; and southbound traffic at Cushman Avenue. Anyone wishing to speak? Hey, just press the button there, sir.
Hold the button.
Yes. No, you just have to press it.
John Donnarumma, 234 Malden Street. A woman was recently seriously injured at Vinnie's Corner, and then something needs to be done there. Something needs to be done for the entirety of Malden Street. 2 months ago, there was a serious motorcycle accident in front of my house at 234. There's constantly accidents along Malden Street. It's not just Vinnie's Corner. Everybody's focused on the corner. But if you pull the accident data of reported accidents from Vinnie's Corner to my house, which is about 600 to 1,000 feet, there's constant accidents. There was one there the other day, over about halfway in between. My tenants have had 3 cars totaled. My car has been hit twice. So this goes beyond the scope of the stop signs. There needs to be calming measures such as speed bumps or speed tables placed around in between Conant and South Street, and then up by Kean and Augustus. Because if the accidents are happening in front of my house, they need to be calmed down before they get to the point where they get to the accident. In front of my house, there's a radar. I can go out there and in 5 minutes, I can get cars going 40, 44 miles an hour. I also think the speed limit is inconsistent on the road. One side says 20, the other side says 25. There's 2 schools on Malden Street. There's a church at the end. I suggest that the speed limit be lowered to 20 on the entire Malden Street, because if you post 20, they're going to drive 25 or 30. If it's posted 25, they're going to drive 30 or 35 or 40. So something needs to be done. The news had 23 accidents in the last 19 or 20 months. Those are reported accidents. Imagine how many are not reported when there's just an accident and the police don't show up. I just think that it's time. It's been, my father grew up there. It's been since he was a child. There's been accidents on Malden Street. A lot of people have got hurt. A lot of property's been damaged. It's time to calm people down, because it's a cut through to the beach directly. It's a cut through to the airport, to Winthrop, and people are driving way too fast. It's very dangerous on Malden Street.
Okay, thank you very much. And there are other items on the agenda for traffic calming measures there. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Chris Chidino. I live on 46 Green Street, Revere, Mass. Malden Street. I'm kind of familiar with the area. I think the immediate solution right now is the stop signs. I came before you guys probably 3 years ago and requested stop signs in the area. At the time, the city was doing a study around the Whalen School, and they put it on hold. I've been driving down Malden Street myself since 1981. I've been living there my whole life. I've been to numerous accidents on Malden Street over the years. I've seen numerous changes in the intersection as far as crosswalks moved, guardrails installed, and different speed limit signs put up and taken down. Currently, Malden Street, the speed limit from St. Mary's to Remedy Road is 30 miles an hour. From Remedy Road to Hall's Corner, or just before Hall's Corner, is 25 miles an hour. Through Hall's Corner is 20 miles an hour. Coming out of the intersection at North Avenue, it goes back to 30 miles an hour again. Unfortunately, we can't put the state standard for 25 over there unless we petition the state on that to get it changed over to be consistent. They moved the crosswalk from Vinnie's Used to be at Hall's Corner. They moved it down about 100 feet down the street to the corner of Charger and Malden Street. If you're coming westbound on Malden Street and you're going 30 miles an hour, and there's no traffic at Hall's Corner, go through the intersection. It's going to take a car doing 30 miles an hour 90 feet before that guy reacts and stops that car. In that time, he's already passed North Avenue. The Traffic Commission has the right to do emergency temporary orders and stuff. I'm requesting that we put this through as an emergency temporary order. I talked with Council Serino on it already also. He's on board with it. 60-day trial period pending the public hearing. And the reason being is school starts in less than a month. Let's get it in place before school starts and the parents on board with it. As far as traffic calming measures, speed bumps, and I wouldn't want one from my house. However, raised crosswalks between Gore Road and St. Mary's, there's no crosswalks across Malden Street at all. Hall's Corner has them, Charger. There was one at Patriot Park at one time, still there or not, then the Wayland School. If we add a crosswalk someplace on Malden, between St. Mary's and the intersection of Malden and Newhall, raise the crosswalk at Vinnie's, raise the one at Patriot Parkway, and look at the one at the Lincoln School also. You might have some kind of effect on the neighborhood, but that takes time. Another option is put the flashing red light on Hall's Corner. Pole's already there, light's already there. All the lights turn red with the stop signs. The best solution, put in flashing crosswalks, flashing lights. All right. Back over here, we looked into a year ago. As far as cost-wise, probably about $25,000 to put that the lights in, installed, have them working. It says, with the school being there, it could probably warrant it. But they said that's up to the Traffic Commission to decide what they want to do with it. And I don't know where the study stands right now that we conducted a few years back. But I'm just requesting, I said, if minimum, have the signs put in right away, and then moving forward, the public hearing, talk about the crosswalks and whatever else we're going to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Janino. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Wayne Rose, 360 Revere Street. Chief, I have a question. How many guys do we have in the traffic department?
Currently, right now, we have 2.
2. I think we found that problem. Thank you.
Sure.
I just want to point out that engineering controls work better than administrative controls as far as speed tables or speed bumps. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You just can't go fast. If you want to call a speed table a raised crosswalk, I'm in agreement with that. We all know speed tables work better. Again, there's a lot of focus on where Vinnie's is and Hall's Corner. It does nothing for in front of my house. They're still going to go 40 miles an hour from Broadway. It does nothing in front of Chris's house. They're still going to go 40 miles an hour. A car passed me over in front of his house on Sunday going 50 on the radar because I was doing the speed limit. They went around me. I don't believe that the police is the solution. Everybody thinks the police is the solution, but it only works when the police are there. It needs to be engineered. In safety, there's a thing called the hierarchy of controls, where you engineer out a problem is a higher priority than an administrative. The police is administrative. Speed tables, raised crosswalks, lights, that's all engineering. That's what we need to do. We need to make Malden Street annoying for the cut-through people.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak? Thank you. So we touched upon a lot of other of these items on the agenda: add raised crosswalk, speed table at Hall's Corner on Malden Street in front of Vinnie's, place traffic calming measures in strategic locations. Do I have a motion to move this to a public hearing in September?
Yes. Motion to move for a public hearing.
Second?
I make a motion that we institute the 60-day emergency period, put it in effect right away.
So
Stop
we'll
signs.
take Hall's Corner, we'll put up the stop signs, we'll change the flashing yellows to flashing reds. We'll do that immediately, as soon as we can, hopefully as early as next week. So do I have a second to Frank's motion?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
So what we'll do, we'll change that to a three-way stop and add the red flashing lights. We'll do that immediately. We'll get some cost estimates on speed tables, speed bumps, raised crosswalks. And I believe, Mr. Janino mentioned this, I believe that crosswalk is too close to that bend. And so we'll see about moving that further down towards Broadway by, at least one intersection or two. I asked Nick Rystrom, the city engineer, who couldn't make it here tonight. He's going to do a little study and see how much of a sight line you need and the distance for good visibility. So if we can do that as an emergency measure.
Mr. Chairman, can I
Yes.
ask one question for the
Sure.
stop signs? And I know it's just a 60-day emergency trial till the hearing, but if it becomes permanent, could we also put the stop onto the ground?
The stop bar?
The stop bar with the
Oh,
word "stop"
of
on the
course.
ground.
Yeah.
Because that's more prominent than a stop sign, because it's a two-lane roads. So if we have that and we have the word "stop" painted right onto the
Sure,
ground.
that's a simple matter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we can certainly do that. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Title 10, Chapter 10.36, Section 10.36065, the revised ordinances of the City of Revere. Oh, excuse me, I'm remiss, hold on. Mr. Ricky Serino, the Ward 6 City Councilor, wanted me to read into the record. He was at work. His feelings on Hall's Corner, and so if I can just indulge you a minute while I read his statement into the record. Dear honorable members of the Traffic Commission, my apologies for not being in attendance at your meeting due to work. Where I cannot be physically present, I wanted to send a letter which I am hoping can be read into the record, as well as for the edification of residents who are in attendance on the topic of Hall's Corner, Malden Street conversation. I want to acknowledge the family of Gina Panaccio and express to them that they have my commitment and that I will work with the Traffic Commission to determine the best path forward to ensure Malden Street is safer, as well as my support if there is anything the Traffic Commission needs from the City Council to make this road as safe as possible for both motorists and pedestrians. As you are aware, I have submitted a request to respectfully ask that your Honorable Commission look into the feasibility of implementing traffic calming strategies in the vicinity of Hall's Corner, including but not limited to a three-way stop at Hall's Corner, raised crosswalks, speed table at Hall's Corner, Malden Street in front of the vicinity of Vinnie's Market, where the crosswalk currently exists. Further, that your commission look at placing traffic calming measures in strategic locations on Malden Street from Washington Ave to Broadway to help slow the speed of motorists. While I leave the final determination of what the best course of action for this area is to you, the traffic experts of our community, I am in complete agreement with the residents of the area that we must take action to make Hall's Corner and Malden Street, in general, safer for most motorists and pedestrians to traverse. As highlighted, there have been more than 20 reported motor vehicle accidents on Malden Street since January of '22 alone, and 11 of these accidents occurring within 500 feet of 296 Malden Street in the vicinity of Hall's Corner. Some sort of traffic calming measures to slow motorists down as they make the bend at Hall's Corner is without question needed, while strategic measures along the whole of Malden Street also ought to be looked at to ensure motorists adhere to the posted speed limits along Malden Street. Enforcement in the area from the police department is critical, though it is understandable not enforcement alone is not enough to change the behavior of motorists who traverse Malden Street. In addition to the consideration and implementation of traffic calming measures, I believe the Commission should take a serious look at the placement of the crosswalk that is in front of Vinnie's Market at 296 Malden Street. I am not sure of the practicality, and it is not my wheelhouse, but perhaps the Commission ought to consider moving that particular crosswalk a bit further down Malden Street in the direction of Broadway, by a block or so, in order to help minimize the danger to pedestrians crossing in close proximity to the curve in the road on Malden Street at Hall's Corner. In closing, I thank you for your consideration, and I respectfully ask that you consider these comments as you deliberate and decide on next steps. Thanks again, Richard Serino, Ward 6 Councilor. Okay, moving on. Title 10, Chapter 10.36, Revised Ordinances, the City of Revere is hereby created by inserting the following new section in its entirety. Request an ordinance establishing free parking for individuals with a veteran and military license plate. The City of Revere shall permit any individual with the following veteran and military license plates to park for free at any of our off-street metered City of Revere parking spaces, or any City of Revere-owned surface lot space requiring payment via kiosk or using app-based payments. Veterans, Bronze Star, Silver Star, Purple Heart, Medal of Honor, Legion of Valor, Pearl Harbor Survivor, Distinguished Flying Cross, XPOW, Medal of Liberty, Disabled Veteran, or Gold Star Family. The provisions of this section apply only to parking meter fees and do not waive any other regulations governing a parking space, including but not limited to time limits, no parking restrictions, handicap parking requirements, fire hydrant requirements, tow zones, street sweeping, and resident permit parking areas. Does anyone wish to speak on this?
Zachary Babo, Director of Parking, 300 Broadway, Revere, Mass. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and rest of the members of the Commission. So as you know, Revere is a Purple Heart city. You know, we're always looking at different ways to continue to honor our veterans. This was the newest way we had come up with. We had seen another city do this, City of Salem, and we thought, you know, what a great incentive to bring on to the veterans of this community and the veterans of other communities that like to visit Revere. So our intent was to look at all the various military plates that the Mass RMV offers and to see how we could allow for free metered parking. Originally, it started with just veteran plates. Looking into it, there were a ton of different delineations of that, and we wanted to make sure we included them all. So the idea is, I want to speak a little bit more, request this go to a public hearing, and I'll speak a little bit more then, but the idea is that as long as your vehicle bears any type of these plates, you do not have to pay a parking meter within the City of Revere. And I'm happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Want to move it to a public hearing? Motion?
Request to move to a public hearing?
Second?
Second.
Aye, all in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Babo. Section 11 of Title 10, Handicapped Person Parking, Yeaman Street. Look into swapping the handicap spot outside of Revere City Hall on Broadway with the spot located at the corner of Broadway and Pleasant Street, which is currently police parking only. This HP spot should have an inlet and ramp allowing access to the sidewalk. Park Avenue spot outside, as an example, Park Avenue spot outside the Harry Della Russo Stadium. Going forward, change the process of installing HP signs from one sign to two, one at the beginning of the parking spot and one at the end, so the vehicle is in between. Signs with metal poles installed in the ground for each sign that is approved. Wish to speak?
Yep. Ralph DeChico, ADA Coordinator, 281 Broadway Revere. As we had done a transition plan that was completed in 2019. Now that I am doing the ADA work, this was documented in there that when we have handicap signs in front of municipal or as a Yeaman Street, the post office, handicap parking spots should have an inlet so that a person with a handicap plate or placard can pull into a spot and not that handicap spot is parallel with the sidewalk, so that they are pulling in and not getting out of their vehicle into the direct roadway, so it allows for access for them not to be into the roadway. So I've been taking a look at this, and it is not ideal to basically put it in the police parking spot because of a couple of reasons. Number one, it is maybe too close to the intersection to allow for the rules of how close parking spots can come to an intersection. But I was basically looking at that as a quick alternative until work could be done for the other hand, for this, where the actual handicap spot is right now. By PROAG laws, which is different than ADA, you cannot simply remove a handicap spot that's being used for municipality purpose and relocate it to another location. It has to be in that same exact location. So if you moved it from in front of City Hall, it cannot go around the corner. It would have to stay someplace in front of City Hall. I was trying to explain to Chief Bright this morning. So because there is already an existing handicap sign that was put there, we have to make accommodations for it to be still to be there. As the one across the street at the post office, that would be the same thing. So as an example, thanks to Laurie, I went outside in the rain, as just because it was rainy days, to take these pictures. She printed them out. And as an example, this is what we did at Harry Delarusso Stadium. We did the inlet there for the 4 spots. We don't necessarily have to do it for the 4 spots because these are only, right now, as of right now, they are 1 spot. So that's all we would have to put. If we wanted to increase it to 2 spots at locations, we could, but we were just mandated to just have the inlet for the 1 spot to do it that way. So that's the first part of it. The second part of the ask that I have here is, I know I've spoken several months ago about handicap sign installations when they are approved for the residents in front of their homes, is if the city can start putting 2 signs, one at the beginning of the spot and one at the end of the spot. We used to do that. Communities still do that because it causes quite an issue when we're putting only 1 handicap spot for people to park, and there's battles with the neighbors where that handicap spot is. Is it before the sign? Is it after the sign? This way, it's a true spot that the vehicle can park in and out, and also make sure that a handicap spot has to stay so many feet before an intersecting streets. So if there's not enough distance for the handicap sign to go, a handicap sign cannot be approved for that location. So with the 2 signs, we can, as a municipality, we cannot install a handicap sign if there's not the distance and it's too close to an intersection, because legally we have to do the right thing by law. And we have to abide by the laws for the intersections of installing handicap signs.
So just a couple of questions, Mr. DeChico. Where do you propose the inlet?
Basically where the handicap spots are right now, if we can create that to be an inlet.
Okay.
So
we
the
would have
sidewalks
to-
are wide enough right
Okay,
now
all right.
because by right, the the clear path has to be 36 inches, has to be a right of way.
Right.
We have plenty of distance in front of the city hall to make an inlet there for there, and at the post office where the spot is now. I believe there's probably, if you look at the picture, because it was raining, I didn't get out there with a measurement. I believe there's close to 60 inches there.
Okay.
So we would have enough room. Frank might be able to know more on that than me.
Okay, very good. And as far as the two poles, that's quite a cost. Would putting up a sign and then maybe painting the curb, would that suffice, or would that not?
I don't think, yeah, that would still,
Okay.
yeah, that would cause an issue. But that's why I said moving forward, we would not have to go back to the ones that are
Okay.
already established. So we'll be moving forward for any new applications that are approved moving forward.
Okay.
And then if there's any problems, like I said, if something arises with residents having issues with it, then we can take a look at that. But all the communities, surrounding communities are still doing that because it is a nuisance to know what the handicap spot, the signs would be the legal distance for a vehicle.
All right, thank you, Mr. DeChico. Do I hear a motion to move this to a public hearing?
Motion to move the public hearing. Just one caution.
Sure.
When we lay this out, the handicap parking space will have to be elongated to accommodate the eyebrow that's being put in.
Okay.
So we will have to position it in a place where we can do that without losing another parking spot
Space,
on Broadway.
okay. All right. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
That's part of development.
that
That
it?
would be part of development.
Did I skip over anything? Okay, I think that's,
Part of development for them to move, do all of that.
we've completed the agenda, and we're going to have another meeting in September. I'm not sure of the date, but it'll be the third Thursday. 21st, September 21st. All right, thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion second. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.